Home Alone 1990-1992 remains one of the most beloved holiday classics, with Kevin McCallister's clever antics and the film's heartwarming humor enchanting generations of fans. But what happened to the cast behind this iconic series over the past 3 decades? Some actors continued to shine in Hollywood, while others chose completely different paths, surprising fans along the way. In this video, we explore where the Home Alone stars are now in 2025, revealing their career journeys, personal milestones, and the unexpected twists in their lives that every fan will find fascinating and nostalgic. John Hurd, born on March 7, 1946 in Washington, D.C., took on the role of Peter McCallister in 1990 at the age of 44, portraying the affluent yet occasionally absent-minded father whose oversight sets the entire Home Alone narrative in motion. Peter's character embodies the suburban archetype, well-meaning, financially secure, and occasionally oblivious, but fundamentally caring a man whose love for his family is clear, despite repeated missteps. Hurd's childhood was far from idyllic. He grew up in a family strained by financial uncertainty and parental discord, navigating periods of neglect and emotional coldness that left deep psychological marks and fueled a lifelong search for stability and recognition. His acting career, though decorated with stage and screen credits, was often punctuated by turbulence. He faced repeated professional setbacks, was passed over for major film roles, and had tense relationships with colleagues, sometimes manifesting in volatile on-set behavior. Hurd's personal life mirrored these difficulties. His brief marriage to Margot Kidder ended amid legal battles, and his involvement with actress Melissa Leo was similarly fraught, including publicized disputes over their child and even an arrest for assault and trespassing. Despite these controversies, he delivered nuanced performances, balancing charm with subtle menace in roles like The Sopranos, for which he earned critical acclaim. Hurd struggled privately with loneliness, financial pressures, and the weight of public scrutiny, yet remained committed to his craft. He died on July 21, 2017 in Palo Alto, California, at age 71 from cardiac arrest related to atherosclerotic and hypertensive heart disease. At the time of his passing, his estate, including modest property holdings, royalties from film and television, and residuals from stage work, was valued at approximately $3.5 million, reflecting a career rich in artistic achievement. But John Candy, born October 31, 1950, in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, was 40 when he appeared as Gus Polinski in Home Alone 1990, a role that, while brief, encapsulated his signature warmth, humor, and ability to connect instantly with audiences. Gus, the exuberant polka king of the Midwest, embodies generosity and comic relief, helping propel Kate McCallister back to her son with infectious charm. Candy's childhood was shaped by modest means and family pressure, compounded by the challenges of dyslexia, which he concealed and struggled against while building his confidence through performance and comedy. His career was a mixture of meteoric success and personal strain, although celebrated for films like Uncle Buck Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Cool Runnings. Candy contended with the physical and emotional toll of constant travel, rigorous filming schedules, and the expectations of Hollywood, often exacerbated by his struggle with obesity and health management. While generally free of scandal, Candy's personal life had its shadows, including early relationship turbulence and the emotional burden of balancing fame with family responsibilities. Despite these challenges, his generosity toward friends, colleagues, and charitable causes became a defining feature of his life, cementing his reputation as both beloved and reliable. Candy died suddenly on March 4, 1994, in Durango, Mexico, at the age of 43 from a heart attack compounded by obesity and stress, leaving behind an estate valued at approximately $15 million, including film residuals, investments, and co-ownership of the Toronto Argonauts football team. His untimely death shocked the industry, yet his legacy endures as a symbol of warmth, laughter, and the bittersweet cost of relentless dedication to one's craft. Roberts Blossom, born on March 25, 1924 in New Haven, Connecticut, was 66 years old when he portrayed Old Man Marley in Home Alone 1990, delivering a performance that transformed the character from local legend of menace to the film's emotional core of reconciliation and human warmth. Marley's initially intimidating demeanor and rumored past hide profound loneliness and regret, and Blossom's interpretation imbued these layers with subtlety, lending the film its bittersweet, haunting undertone. His early life was marked by personal hardship, growing up in a period of economic depression and familial instability that shaped his introspective and somewhat reclusive personality. Blossom's career in theater and film was distinguished but unglamorous. He embraced character roles that allowed him to explore complex, often eccentric personalities, and although he avoided major Hollywood scandals, he was known for his uncompromising standards, sometimes clashing with directors and producers over artistic choices. His personal life remained largely private, and though he faced the universal struggles of aging and the challenges of sustaining a career in competitive theater and film, he cultivated a disciplined devotion to poetry and creative expression. Blossom died on July 8, 2011 at the age of 87 from cerebrovascular disease, leaving behind a legacy rooted in the quiet power of character acting and a net worth estimated around $1 million, derived from decades of consistent understated work rather than headline-grabbing celebrity. His influence persists in the way nuanced supporting roles can carry emotional weight and resonate long after the spotlight has moved on. Bill Irwin, born on December 23, 1914, took on the role of Ed Irene's grumpy but endearing husband in Home Alone 1990 at the age of 76. Irwin's portrayal capitalized on decades of experience, blending curmudgeonly charm with comic timing, turning a minor character into a memorable presence that resonated with viewers. Beyond the screen, his life was a tapestry of perseverance, intellectual curiosity, and occasional tension, born of exacting standards. Raised in Texas during a time of economic uncertainty, Irwin's early years were shaped by a strict, disciplined household and frequent encounters with hardship and ridicule, teaching him self-reliance and an uncompromising dedication to craft. He amassed over 250 screen credits, including television, film, and voice work, and earned acclaim for an Emmy-nominated appearance on Seinfeld. In addition to acting, he was a talented cartoonist, publishing in The New Yorker, and Playboy, demonstrating a creative versatility few peers could match. Despite professional success, Irwin's career was not without turbulence. Clashes with directors, disputes over interpretation of roles, and occasional marginalization of character actors in Hollywood created periods of professional frustration and uncertainty. His personal life, largely private, involved prolonged bachelorhood and a focus on work over relationships, sometimes straining familial connections. Though he maintained friendships and mentorships within the industry, he avoided scandal but was known among colleagues for a dry wit and forthright personality that could be misinterpreted by the uninitiated as irascibility. Irwin passed away on December 29, 2010 at age 96 from natural causes, leaving an estate estimated at $2 million, composed of accumulated residuals, personal investments, and intellectual property rights from decades of work. His fortune, while not ostentatious, reflected a lifetime of dedication, and his impact as a seasoned character actor is felt in both the breadth of his performances and the subtle yet enduring mark he left on American television and cinema. Jerry Becker, born April 11, 1951, portrayed Officer Number 1 in Home Alone 1990 at the age of 39, delivering a minor but grounded performance as a calm and professional member of the police team. His character lent authenticity to the film's chaotic climax, but off-screen Becker's life was far more complex, defined by resilience, artistic ambition, and personal struggle. Raised in St. Louis, Missouri, he endured a childhood marked by familial instability, financial limitations, and repeated social pressures that shaped a cautious yet determined personality. Early in his career, Becker battled alcoholism, which threatened both professional opportunities and personal relationships, and required years of disciplined sobriety to overcome. In Hollywood and theater circles, he developed a reputation for meticulous preparation and emotional depth, though his intensity and insistence on professionalism sometimes led to conflicts with directors or co-stars. Becker's career included notable supporting roles in Donnie Brasco's Spider-Man and Man on the Moon, along with extensive stage work demonstrating versatility and commitment to craft. His personal life, while private, involved periods of estrangement and complicated family relationships reflecting the strain of balancing long hours in the performing arts with human connections. Despite the challenges, Becker remained respected for his dedication and depth, earning a modest fortune that included residuals, stage royalties, and property, culminating in a net worth of approximately $1 million at the time of his death on April 13, 2019, at age 68, due to complications from diabetes. Though his career was free from major scandal, his story exemplifies the quiet struggles and resilience of a character actor whose influence lies not in tabloid notoriety, but in the consistency, emotional authenticity, and understated power of his work, leaving a legacy of professionalism, craft, and human complexity that continues to inspire actors in film and theater. Rip Taylor, born Charles Elmer. Taylor Jr., on January 13, 1931, made a brief but unforgettable cameo as Celeb Number 1 in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, 1992, at age 61, bringing his trademark flamboyance, confetti-throwing antics, and audacious humor to the film. Taylor's early life in Washington, D.C. was turbulent. He endured a strict household and later struggled with self-expression in a conservative environment, experiences that arguably fueled his fearless, eccentric stage persona. His path to success included military service during the Korean War, where exposure to discipline and adversity contrasted sharply with the riotous freedom he would later embody on stage and television. Professionally, Taylor was a force of nature, adored for his campy charisma, yet notorious for unpredictability, often clashing with writers or fellow performers when his sense of comedic timing or improvisational impulses diverged from scripted norms. Rumors occasionally swirled around his private life, particularly given his insistence on privacy regarding his sexual orientation, sparking speculation without definitive confirmation. Despite these tensions, he built a career spanning 6 decades, encompassing television voice work and live performance, punctuated by both extravagant applause and the quiet frustrations of long-running tours and variety shows. Taylor's personal life, while fiercely guarded, was colored by the loneliness inherent in a persona larger than life, and he faced health struggles later in life, including epileptic seizures that eventually contributed to his death on October 6, 2019, at age 88 from heart failure. His estate, estimated at $3 million, comprised earnings from thousands of appearances, voiceover roles, and live performances, leaving behind a legacy defined by audacity, eccentricity, and the unflinching courage to live and perform on his own flamboyant terms. Joe Pesci was born on February 9, 1943, and was 47 years old when he portrayed Harry Lime in Home Alone 1990, the irascible, quick-witted burglar whose clashes with Kevin McCallister offered both comedy and tension. Pesci's Harry was a study in controlled volatility, the short-tempered antagonist with an almost cartoonish but menacing edge, embodying the menace and unpredictability Pesci had honed in dramatic films like Goodfellas and Casino. Behind the camera, Pesci's life was far from tame. His personal relationships were complex and sometimes controversial, including a marriage to actress Claudia Harrow, who later became infamous for her involvement in a murder-for-hire plot, targeting her ex-husband, thrusting Pesci into a media storm, despite his lack of direct involvement. Pesci's own fiery temperament and insistence on privacy led to periodic retirements, clashes with directors, and a reputation for being difficult on set of professional behavior that both hindered and protected his career. His most notable professional setback could be considered his retreat from Hollywood after 1999, which, while voluntary, meant relinquishing visibility at a time when film roles were abundant for actors of his caliber. Yet his return in Martin Scorsese's The Irishman reminded audiences of his enduring talent and resilience. As of 2025, Joe Pesci is 82 years old, navigating a quieter life away from the constant glare of Hollywood, with an estimated net worth of $50 million, encompassing his film royalties, residuals, and carefully managed investments, underscoring a life that combined volatility, brilliance, and cautious stewardship of his assets. Macaulay Culkin was born on August 26, 1980, and was 10 years old when he embodied Kevin McCallister in Home Alone 1990, a role that instantly cemented him as a child star of global renown. Kevin's character, a mischievous, resourceful boy, left to defend his home against burglars, was a perfect mirror for Culkin's own early life, which was far from idyllic. Raised in New York City under the tight, often controlling supervision of his father, Kit Culkin, Macaulay's childhood was riddled with legal battles over trust funds and custody, moments of extreme media scrutiny, and the pressures of adult-sized expectations placed on a preteen. Despite his enormous fame and a string of lucrative film roles, his adolescence and teenage years were marked by public speculation about substance abuse, an early short-lived marriage, and a highly scrutinized reclusive phase that only intensified rumors about his personal life. His career faced its own turbulence. After being overexposed in the early 1990s, he struggled to transition from child prodigy to adult actor, taking nearly a decade-long hiatus from Hollywood that many speculated was self-imposed due to burnout and family conflicts. Yet Culkin reinvented himself in the 2000s through independent films, experimental projects, and ventures such as his satirical website Bunny Ears, cultivating a new self-curated persona that both capitalized on and lampooned his past fame. Kevin's cunning and ingenuity in Home Alone not only cemented the film's enduring appeal, but also reflected Culkin's own ability to navigate complex social dynamics from a young age. As of 2025, Macaulay Culkin is 44 years old and maintains an estimated net worth of $18 million, with assets including intellectual property rights from his early films, a collection of personal real estate, and continued revenue from public appearances and creative endeavors, demonstrating a life that, despite early trauma and public fascination with scandal, has evolved into a controlled and self-determined adulthood. Daniel Stern was born on August 28, 1957, and was 33 years old when he played Marv Merchants in Home Alone, 1990, the bumbling, comically inept half of the Wet Bandits duo. Marv's endearing foolishness and exaggerated slapstick became a defining element of the film's humor, earning Stern a unique place in the hearts of audiences. Stern's own childhood in Bethesda, Maryland, was relatively stable, though he gravitated toward humor and performance early, perhaps as a means to navigate social pressures and self-expression. Professionally, Stern faced the challenges of avoiding typecasting. Despite his breakout role, he declined to reprise Marv in Home Alone 4, calling the script a betrayal of the original spirit, which demonstrated his commitment to artistic integrity over potential financial gain. Off-screen, he has largely avoided scandal, maintaining a low-profile personal life with his wife and children, though the pressures of fame and public expectation are not absent in his narrative, particularly in managing the legacy of a character so strongly associated with a specific comedic style. His later ventures into directing voice acting for the Wonder Years and public art installations like bronze sculptures reveal a conscious choice to diversify creatively while stepping away from the relentless scrutiny of Hollywood. As of 2025, Daniel Stern is 67 years old and enjoys a stable private life in California with an estimated net worth of $12 million derived from film residuals, directing projects, and his artistic endeavors, illustrating a career marked by careful navigation between commercial success and personal fulfillment, all while avoiding the pitfalls of scandal that have consumed many of his contemporaries. Eddie Bracken was born on February 7, 1915, and played the warm-hearted Mr. Duncan in Home Alone 2. Lost in New York, 1992, at age 77, the generous toy store owner, whose charm and kindness provided a moral anchor amid the film's hijinks. Bracken's childhood in Astoria, Queens, was marked by modest means and a family struggling with economic insecurity, forcing him to develop a sharp wit and resilience from an early age. These traits shaped the empathetic, sometimes bumbling, yet endearing persona that defined his screen performances, giving characters like Mr. Duncan a depth and relatability that resonated with audiences. His long career in vaudeville, Broadway, and Hollywood was punctuated by both triumphs and setbacks. A few poorly received film projects threatened to typecast him as comic relief, and he endured the frustrations of a changing industry that often favored younger talent over veteran actors. Despite this, Bracken maintained a remarkable level of professionalism, though some accounts hint at quiet tensions with directors over creative control in his later stage work. On the personal front, Bracken's life was relatively stable with a long marriage and family life, providing a buffer against the pressures of show business, though he privately admitted to moments of isolation common to performers whose careers span decades. In his later years, he faced health struggles, including complications from neck surgery, which ultimately contributed to his passing on November 14, 2002, at age 87. At that time, his net worth was estimated at $2 million, accumulated through decades in stage radio and screen work, leaving behind a legacy as a consummate entertainer whose moral clarity on screen reflected a life of quiet discipline and perseverance. Catherine O'Hara, born March 4, 1954 in Toronto, Canada, was 36 when she embodied Kate McCallister in Home Alone. 1990, portraying the frazzled, fiercely determined mother whose desperation to rescue her forgotten son provided both the film's emotional backbone and its comedic tension. Kate's blend of anxious energy, sharp wit, and maternal warmth struck a chord with audiences, making her simultaneously relatable and larger than life, and O'Hara infused the role with subtle layers of vulnerability and unspoken resilience. Her childhood was colored by a complex mix of encouragement and pressure. Growing up in a middle-class family with a father who struggled with temper issues and a mother who emphasized academic achievement, she learned early to mask insecurity with humor and performative bravado. O'Hara's career path was punctuated by relentless ambition and recurring setbacks, including repeated rejection from early Canadian television projects and creative clashes with producers who found her insistence on precise comedic timing difficult to manage, leading to temporary estrangements from certain comedy troupes. While publicly admired for her comedic brilliance, insiders recall her being exacting and occasionally intimidating, with a perfectionism that sometimes alienated castmates. Personal life offered no respite, balancing early marriages, navigating a demanding career, while raising children and confronting subtle ageism and gendered expectations in Hollywood created a constant tension that informed her work. Health challenges in her 40s, including periods of anxiety and exhaustion, compounded the pressures of fame, yet she persisted, reinventing herself through voice acting, film, and television. As of 2025, she is 71 and continues to work, particularly celebrated for her Emmy-winning role as Moira Rose in Schitt's Creek, and has cultivated a substantial net worth of around $10 million, including royalties from decades of film and television work, real estate holdings, and long-standing voice roles, leaving a legacy defined by both creative genius and a quietly disciplined personal resilience. Billy Bird, born on February 28, 1908, appeared as Irene, the sweet and chatty elderly woman in the airport scene of Home Alone 1990 at the age of 82. Irene's brief but memorable presence embodied warmth, humor, and a sense of comforting humanity, qualities Bird honed over a career spanning vaudeville, early television, and Hollywood film, making her a trusted figure in John Hughes productions. Yet beneath this genial persona lay a life shaped by adversity. Bird was raised in an orphanage after her parents were unable to care for her, experiencing emotional neglect, financial deprivation, and relentless teasing from other children. These early challenges instilled a resilience and work ethic that would sustain her throughout decades in an industry notorious for its instability and ageism. She began performing as a child, touring and traveling shows and honing comedic timing that would later define her career, eventually entertaining American troops during the Vietnam War, a rare honor for women of the era, earning her recognition as an honorary member of the Green Berets. While Bird projected wholesomeness on screen, colleagues recalled her insistence on professionalism and occasional bluntness when boundaries were crossed or work was subpar, revealing a steely determination often masked by her warm appearance. She never courted scandal, maintaining a private life without marriage or children, and preferred to focus on her craft rather than the social trappings of Hollywood. Though her career was not without obstacles, ageism, typecasting, and limited opportunities for older women constantly challenged her. Bird continued working well into her 80s, demonstrating stamina and dedication with recurring television and film appearances that cemented her legacy as a beloved character actress. She passed away on November 27, 2002 at 94, after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease, leaving an estate valued at approximately $1 million, including residuals, modest property holdings, and accumulated savings. Peter Sragusa was born on February 16, 1955, and played the lineman in Home Alone 1990 at age 35, a small but oddly memorable presence during the chaotic airport sequences that captured his working-class charm and booming theatricality. Sragusa's childhood was far from easy. Growing up in Boston, in a modest Italian-American family, he experienced repeated teasing and marginalization for his height and outspoken manner, learning early to conceal vulnerability behind humor and bluster. These formative experiences, coupled with early exposure to local theater, shaped a performer who thrived in ensemble and supporting roles rather than seeking stardom, embracing a behind-the-scenes craft that earned him over 5,000 performances of sheer madness in Chicago, yet also a degree of anonymity in Hollywood. His career, while steady, was not without tension. Stories circulate of his occasionally abrasive rehearsal style, clashes with directors over minor character interpretations, and moments when his insistence on precision frustrated co-stars. Though he avoided high-profile scandals, he struggled privately with bouts of depression and the occupational hazards of a long-running stage career, including physical exhaustion and the constant challenge of staying vocally fit. Personal life challenges included a series of short-lived relationships and estrangement from some extended family members due to disagreements over career priorities. Despite these pressures, he maintained resilience, balancing stage, film, and voice work, a combination that ultimately secured him financial stability and modest fame. Peter Sragusa passed away on October 11, 2022, at age 67 from a sudden illness. At the time of his death, he left an estimated net worth of $1 million, reflecting decades of steady professional work across theater, film, and animation voice roles, leaving behind a reputation as a beloved, dependable character actor whose presence, though understated, carried real gravitas. Angela Gothal, born May 20, 1977 in New York City, was 13 when she portrayed Lenny McCallister in Home Alone 1990, bringing to life Kevin's sharp-tongued, exasperated older sister, whose sarcasm and teen rebellion added authenticity to the family dynamic. Lenny's teasing of her younger brother, interspersed with brief moments of concern, reflected Gothal's own ability to channel personal experience into performance, a skill honed despite a childhood marked by emotional turbulence. Growing up in a financially strained household, she experienced the alienation and subtle mockery common among children of divided households, learning to conceal hurt behind precocious intelligence and humor. Gothal's acting career faced its own hurdles after declining to return for Home Alone 2. Due to theater commitments, she struggled with typecasting and sporadic opportunities in film and television, often facing professional frustration when adult roles failed to materialize or were offered at less than market value. Behind the camera, colleagues describe her as reserved and occasionally defensive traits, stemming from navigating the pressures of early fame and adolescent exposure to public scrutiny, though she avoided major scandals. Personal life was deliberately private. Early relationships were complex, reflecting the difficulty of transitioning from child actor to adult, and she invested heavily in family life, marrying and raising 2 children while stepping back from acting. Mental and emotional resilience was tested by the common pitfalls of child stardom, yet she has maintained stability and a sense of purpose outside Hollywood. As of 2025, she is 48, retired from acting since 2018, with a net worth estimated at $1 million from film, television, theater work, and residuals illustrating a carefully curated life that balances security, privacy, and the long-term effects of early fame in the entertainment industry. Devon Ratray, born January 11, 1977 in New York City, was 13 when he became Buzz McCallister in Home Alone 1990, delivering an indelible performance as Kevin's loud bullying and brash older brother, whose over-the-top cruelty and comedic timing cemented him in popular culture. Buzz's arrogant bravado and exaggerated self-confidence mirrored Ratray's capacity to harness intense energy for performance. Though off-screen, his life has been far more chaotic. He grew up in a competitive and emotionally distant household, facing early criticism and neglect that contributed to a defiant, sometimes combative personality. His career, while including acclaimed roles in Nebraska, Blue Ruin, and Kimmy, has been repeatedly overshadowed by legal controversies and erratic behavior. In 2021, he was arrested for domestic assault and in 2022 faced investigation over an alleged sexual assault from 2017 events that significantly damaged his public reputation and limited professional opportunities. Colleagues report that Ratray could be volatile on set, occasionally clashing with co-stars, and some allege manipulative behavior to secure screen time or favorable billing, while rumors of substance use and impulsive decision-making have persisted. Personal relationships have been tumultuous, with estrangement from family members, reported affairs, and difficulty maintaining long-term commitments, contributing to ongoing instability. Despite this, he continues acting sporadically, attempting to navigate a career amid controversy, and has maintained a modest financial position. His net worth is estimated at $400,000, including residuals from Home Alone independent projects and occasional television work. Ratray's story is emblematic of the challenges of early fame, compounded by personal missteps and legal turmoil, highlighting the stark contrast between cultural nostalgia for his performance and the ongoing consequences of private indiscretions and public scrutiny. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of Home Alone and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd like us to feature next.